got no shame. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. From the worst of the worst, we reshining some light. Unraveling the tales of crime in the night. Crack a smile with the stories, take flight in the fight. Relationships and wisdom, we keep the vibe right. Bring your laughter, share your pain. In this journey together we read breaking the grave. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. So tune in with us, take a seat. The Birdman Show's where the real ones meet. Yo, welcome to the Birdman Show, let's dive deep. Murder mysteries and tales that make you lose sleep. We re-uncover in the darkness, the stories we'll keep. Laughing about the silliness while we leap and we sweep. Here's the mental health, let's break the chains. Friends talking it out, we got no shame. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. From the worst of the worst, we reshining some light. Unraveling the tales of crime in the night. Crack a smile with the stories, take flight in the fight. Relationships and wisdom, we keep the vibe right. Bring your laughter, share your pain. In this journey together we read breaking the grave. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. From the worst of the worst, we reshining some light. From the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold.
What is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy, the Birdman, from the Birdman Show. You already know what to do, so why don't you go ahead and do it with us? That is right. We are here. We're live on the Birdman Show. I'm assuming the music's not coming through again.
I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, no problem. Not a problem. Yeah, not a problem. It's all good. We just bob our heads as if we're actually listening to something. It is what it is. I don't care right now. I don't care. I'm just happy to be back here for another Conspiracy Files episode of the Birdman Show. But I gotta say what's up to my co-host first before I do anything. I got Miss D. I got Base Valor with me. We're gonna start with ladies first, like always, because we're gentlemen around here. Miss D, how you doing?
Doing okay. Don't mind me if I'm snagging a bite or two of dinner in between. It's been one of those days, but I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Not doing too bad. Probably after the podcast, we'll be heading out to my niece is having her little birthday party. I mean, she's 27 now. So I mean, it's fun. It's a little bit enjoy a little bit more. Then she's older, a lot older, and now she's got her own son, who's I think he's he'll be 6 months here pretty quick. So I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. Being a great uncle, I am definitely enjoying it. Mace, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing really good. My father-in-law's in town, so the boys have someone else to terrorize. So I'm doing pretty good.
That is always awesome.
Real quick, D, I want to just say you look wonderful today. I love that sweater. It looks super comfy.
It does look comfy.
Yeah, we just got a shit ton of snow. So
I was about to say, yeah, y'all still got some snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any snow our way, but we got the coldness and it sucks. I'd almost would rather have the snow because then it seems like it's more justified. I don't like having snow or having cold weather without some type of snow. It just doesn't make sense to me. But that's Kansas. That's Kansas for you. That's exactly what it is. So yeah, definitely that's what's going on. Are you plugged into TikTok?
I am.
Okay, so who do we have over there? If we have anybody
We have
watching
a
right now,
Shiloh.
awesome. Oh, okay, that's it. Sorry.
Yeah. So far, that's
Sorry,
it.
yeah, he's also pulling double duty because Shiloh is also over here in YouTube land, checking us out. Hello, you amazing person yourself. So that is awesome. Appreciate the support, brother. Love you guys. It happens all the time. We get people that trickle in. So it is what it is. I'm not all concerned about it. But yeah, we've got an episode for you guys today. Um, and it has the potential of being somewhat disturbing. Um, so we're gonna figure that out as we go. Today's topic we are going to be talking about subliminal messages. I titled it "They're whispering at you subliminal messages, conspiracies." Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I will start it off by asking this question of my co-hosts because I like to start off each podcast with asking you guys a question. So your guys' question for this one: when was the first? Oh my God! No, I didn't ask you a question. Sorry, it was the nosy one on the iPad that decided to kick in and join the conversation. Anyways, when was the first time you ever heard of the term subliminal message? Miss D, we'll start with you.
God, I had to have been young, but understand, I grew up with 3 older brothers, and us being Gen X and not having a whole lot of time to do stuff, you know, or not, a lot of outside influences other than, what you see on TV and movies. Um, they kind of terrorized me with that as a child. Um, so I thought that there was subliminal messaging in just about everything. Um, but yeah, I was pretty young the first time I heard about it. I mean, I didn't understand it until much later on, but yeah, I would say I was probably introduced to it by the time I was like 5, 6 years old.
Oh wow. What about you there, Mace?
Yeah, for me, I can pretty distinctly remember the first time I had heard a reference about that. And I think I was about like 9 or so. And I was watching, it was like a educational show, but it wasn't for kids. It was for maybe young adults. It was funny, humorous. It was this British science show or whatever. And one of the things that they had talked about in one of their segments was subliminal messages, but it was a very like, I guess stereotypical surface level interpretation of it. It was basically like where you're watching something and like something will flash on the screen to kind of like burn into your subconscious without you noticing type of thing. Obviously, as I get older and then you learn about all the MK Ultra stuff and there's multiple different layers that go pretty deep into the human psyche and how our environment and experiences can be manipulated and altered based upon particular messaging. That doesn't have to be so direct. It can be rather opaque in the way it seeps in. So really interesting and creepy stuff.
Yeah, definitely creepy when you think about it. In general, just the science behind subliminal messaging. When you really start to get into it and look at things. So I'm trying to see. Hold on. I should have. Well, I had it pulled up, but it was just telling me some other stuff. Okay, so let's do this. Ms. D, we'll start with you. Why don't you give us one of your subjects on subliminal messaging as far as like where do you want to start with the topic?
I got crafty.
Tinfoil sailboat hat. Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Now,
Outstanding. I'm with you. I rock with you.
So, I mean, I was doing some research on it, the psychology behind subliminal messaging. and understanding that there are 3 types. Um, your subliminally presented stimuli, subliminal perception, and subliminal processing, which got me thinking because I can never do one thing, before I dive headfirst into a rabbit hole, about the whole. Well, if subliminal messaging works, um, how is it different than hypnosis besides the consent level? Subliminal messaging within TV, radio, any kind of social media. I mean, you could look at it, devil's advocate, that you're consenting by, informing yourself. Oh, thank you. By informing, you're consenting by being active on those things, but versus hypnosis, which obviously you need your direct consent, and active consent for that. Now, I'm somebody that has used hypnosis before, particularly when I quit smoking back in 2018. I quit for, a year. I won't get into why I started again, but I've quit smoking cigarettes since then. But it's like almost after that time frame, trying to get back into it, I have yet to be able to kind of like pick up where I left off, because I'm no longer suggestible, which is where I think the subliminal messaging and hypnosis kind of cross those roads, because in order to be hypnotized, you have to be in a space where you are suggestible on a subconscious level. And it's a true thing that you can't hypnotize somebody who's not willing to take on those suggestions. And I'm assuming it's the same thing with subliminal messaging. To me, it works the same. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
All right, Monty, what about you?
Oh man, I love the fact that she pointed out that there's this notion that the very act of participation is what garners consent. And it does feel like that could be something that obviously can be argued, because not saying that that's not the case. That is the case. That's the case, that the people that do this, that the way that they justify it, it's like, well, you're coming in this arena, you're playing this game, you're watching this television program. So just the act of like joining in, you're already like down for whatever. But, I mean, we can all read the room and the truth. Like, anyone in the world would argue, like, well, if we were consciously and told and aware that this is what is being presented, then no, we wouldn't. That's why it all boils down to language. And remember, all these like weird little dots and all these shows that we talk about, they all connect in some of the weirdest ways. And consent is a very, very big one. The powers that be will use language, they'll use wordage, they'll use legal technicalities, they'll use our very language as a weapon against us to justify the harm that they do to us. So, and obviously will be a discussion later in the show, but that ties into like a lot of the MK Ultra shit stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a scary thing, because typically the powers that be that do this stuff have their own weird way of the end will justify the means kind of thing. And that's what I find to be the most concerning, because you have masses of people that don't even realize that they've been indoctrinated for a very long time. Like, think about it like this. If you can convince a single generation of a particular truth, they will then teach that truth to the next generation. And then that truth no longer is even debated as truth or not. That's just the perception of reality as we know it. And then here we are today, as the world is in flames and every single headline feels like an Onion article. And now all of us are like, wait a minute, what is even real anymore? Like, none of this makes any sense, but that's kind of what makes this whole experience of life fun on this weirdly weird, wacky timeline. I'm telling you, ever since they killed that gorilla, we just went down the wrong path.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm smiling, not because that's what I. First of all, I love having these conversations with the both of you, because I love watching the both of you talk about different stuff, like especially a subject like this. So I truly enjoy it, but I'm smiling because of the simple fact, especially what you just said there, Mace. Um, when you think about this, and we think about subliminal messages, and we think about everything that we've grown up to know, we've said this before. We started questioning a lot of things. Education. We started questioning things we've been taught over the years. But the thing about it is that it was taught at one point in time, and then it just kept going from there to there to there. It was just one thing where we were just being taught, and we were blindly following. Like I said, another thing I can compare that to, not just education. Another thing I compare that to is when it comes to religion. The simple fact is that we tend to follow, like I said, whether you're following the Bible, the Quran, whatever your religion is, you tend to follow what the people before you have taught you, and you're taught, oddly enough, not to question it, and that never has made sense to me. Now I understand, and they always, and I only speak for Pentecostal, for Church of God in Christ, because that's what I was brought up in. Their favorite line to use is, "You never question God, never question God, never question God." And it's not so much that I'm questioning God; it's just gaining the understanding as, okay, if this is God's will, then why is it that people are suffering if He wants His people to be prosperous? And
Yeah,
and
that's
and,
that's
so-
an
and
interesting thing, man.
and then another thing that always got me distracted. This, and you'll get a kick out of this one, there, Mace. Another thing that always struck me funny was, and I don't know if y'all been to black churches before, but
You've taken me to some.
yeah, right. So in a lot of black churches, you might see that offering plate like 4 or 5 times in one service. You know what I'm saying? You might see they like, okay, this offering, or this collection plate's for the building fund. This collection plate is for the actual offering. This collection plate is for the ushers board. Like, you might see like
This one,
four or
the
five.
pastor needs cable. Like,
Right. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing is they'll I've heard ministers, pastors, whoever, and they've used this line. They say the money is the root of all evil. If that's the case, why are you asking for it so much? I'm just saying, like, when you think about, like I said, yes, we're talking about subliminal messages, but then I start thinking about it on a grander scale when it comes to everything I've been taught growing up, and how those messages have been snuck in every aspect of life. It's not just about what you see on TV. Now we're gonna get those. And the crazy thing to me was 1920. And I don't know if you guys have this in your research, but 1920, the BBC allegedly used backmasking, backward recorded messages in radio jingles to influence public attitude towards radio. So it's been reported as early as 1920. And I'm like, what? The first time I heard, I'm gonna tell you, because I asked you guys about the first time you heard about, that first time I heard about subliminal messaging. I don't remember which movie it was, what it was, but it had to do with the fact that they played a record backwards, and it had some satanic stuff on the thing. It was a movie. I cannot recall what movie it was, and I know they've done it on several different movies since then. So that's not going to help me out either. But I was probably about maybe 10, 15, between 10 and 15. I was between 10 and 15 years old. I don't remember. That's the first time I heard about it. But then I still didn't know exactly what it was until later on in life. And then I seen a show that did it, that was talking about it, and they were slowing down ads. They were slowing down different things. Disney was a big part of a lot of that crap going on. Whether it was the cover of, what was it, Little Mermaid, whether it was Simba when he was laying in the grass with what was the female lion's name? What was her name? Nala. Yeah. So they were laying in there, and then in the little stars or whatever, it outlined the word sex in it. So like, yeah. So we're gonna get into that. Trust me. But I just, like I said, when I think about it, I started thinking about it, and I know, and Dee had messaged me talking about she was going down a rabbit hole. Man, that rabbit hole started for me a while back. As soon as this came up, and I started really thinking about subliminal messages as they're intended, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
we're
whoa,
subjected to it before we even have any idea of what it is.
yeah. So you think about like everything's going on in the world right now. Well, I'll say in America. We're gonna stick with America because that's where I'm at. When you think about everything's going on in America right now, everything's going on right now, I think stems back to some form of subliminal messaging that has gotten us to this point. In a lot of stuff. The reason why I say that is because it's not just about the television; it's also about what people say, how they say it, the cadences they say it, what they imply with some of the wordings, the words that they use, and how they use the wording. Subliminal messages. I'm starting to feel are surrounding us every day, 24/7, from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed. And sometimes while you're sleeping. That's one of the reasons why I stopped playing. The TV is never on when I go to bed. I don't play any music. I don't play the radio. I don't play anything. When I go to bed, it's complete silence other than a fan. That's it. Because you know what I found out, Miss D? Times when I was playing music or listening to the radio, and there were times where there were commercials on there, and there was certain food that was on there, I'd wake up craving it. And I'm like, why am I creating like tacos at 4:00 or like 1 or like 9:00 in the morning? What? And so I'm waiting until lunchtime so I can go get some Taco Bell. And it's like, why am I? And then I'm realizing that because I woke up in the middle of the night one night and I had it on the free Spotify, and so it played commercials, and there was a commercial about food on there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm done with that. I don't play that stuff. Okay, so let's start talking about some of these subliminal messaging. Okay, so wait a minute, let me go over here to YouTube real quick. I think Shallow might have said something. Yeah. Shallow says we were told the Russians were trying to change us into communists in our own television programming. Yeah, you know, it's funny how governments will blame other governments for the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, we're not the United States is not the only government. Every single government does that.
I am definitely going to be bringing up the satanic panic.
Okay.
All
right. Oh, I kind of remember a little bit of this. So I'm interested to hear that. Okay, so all right, so Monty, why don't you kick us off with some of this stuff going on? What is truly subliminal messaging? Let's break it down to the rarest form.
Yeah, you're kind of watching it right now. So subliminal messaging is any type of audio, visual, any type of stimuli of the senses that you're drawing in. It could be touch, taste, sense, hear, whatever, right? Because these messages, these thoughts, they essentially create desires within us, things that we subconsciously are not aware of, and they just feel natural to us. So when they do surface to our conscious thought, it feels as if this is something of our own desire and creation. And these are put, like you had said, like historically, like in radio, it's been in print. Like even the guy that killed Lenin had said that it was To Kill a Mockingbird, that the novel itself, somehow there was messaging and some symbolism and metaphors in it that encouraged him to do such thing. I as far as that goes, it was the government, but whatever. It's like, that's what subliminal messaging is. It's a hidden message that is obfuscated from conscious thought, that is implanted just by interacting with it, just by visualizing it, like, and this seed then starts to grow, and the idea is for it to encourage particular thought patterns so that we act and behave in a particular manner.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that, Ms. D?
So basically, same thing, mimicking what Mace was just saying. I spoke about the 3 types of subliminal messaging, and the subliminally presented stimuli, which is definitely that physical aspect of things. We are encased in it every single day. And the other thing too, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this. The United States is one of the only countries that it's legal because they do not find it to be they don't see the science behind it as being an issue. So
Also, the
that's
freedom
where,
of speech backs it up.
well, yeah, the freedom of speech backs it up. But if it's subliminal messaging working on the subconscious and you're not able to consent, is it really freedom of speech and freedom of press if you're basically not consenting to it? There's that. So there's my little oil captain hat.
Listen, let me cast. I don't really, but I just got to say this. This is the one thing I don't like about America is that a lot of things that have been backed up by science that other countries have banned in their country, and they seemingly have their people are seemingly to be a lot better, a lot healthier, a lot more, I guess, more conscious when it comes to a lot of things. But this country tends to, well, it's lawmakers tend to allow it because they say, oh, well, the science doesn't really back it up, but it does. I think that's what really kind of bothers me when it comes to that. And I just had to say that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I got to pick up on that, Tim. So this goes, what you just said, it ties back into the whole thing about generational conditioning, where you, over the course of time, you just have the populace essentially do it to themselves. So I would argue this. I would ask you the question, in America, who controls our narrative? Who controls what we learn? Who writes our history books? Who writes our science books? Who is the one that is truly in control of our education system? Okay, not allowed to say it out loud, but I'm pretty sure we all know who. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, the publishing company that he runs, you know, they're the ones that do all the publications for all the stuff that we learn here. So, and that's been that way since like the 1800s. So nothing that we know is real, you know. And then anyway, I don't want to get off.
Yeah, I don't. I'm with you. Go ahead, Misty, because it's not. I don't think we're going to get done with this episode. Go ahead. This is a serious rabbit hole. I should just called it rabbit hole conspiracies. That's what you should name this.
No, it's very much. and then
my head already hurts.
But it touches on so many of the things that we've already discussed. And it touches on so many of the other topics we have yet to discuss. Now, being in America, you know, to kind of circle back with that, if the populace figures that, okay, well, yeah, it's legal in America, you know, we have freedom of speech, we have freedom of journalism, we have this freedom, that freedom, that freedom, that freedom, so we're a free society. It becomes so ingrained in us, we don't think anything of it. It's not threatening, and therefore, whatever is going to be used of it is used of it. It creates a false sense of trust and a false sense of respect for authority. It creates a false sense of being, because we have become so susceptible to those suggestions that it's eroded away our free will, if you will. That, you know, because when you attach something so mindless as buy Coca-Cola, eat popcorn, you know, people don't think of it as being a harmful thing until it's something much larger on a higher scale. Hello, daughter.
Hello. I mean, I would say hello. I mean, you weren't talking to me. I'm not your daughter. But I was saying hello as well. Anyway, sorry. I had to make that clear for some reason.
But yeah, no, when we start eroding away what we accept on a subconscious level, we tend to be able to accept so much more, or it numbs what we accept on an actual conscious level.
Mhm.
And when people are all like, well, where did humanity go? And there it is, right there. Our subconscious has been so overloaded with the acceptable that the unacceptable, it's just another day. We are numb to it.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that really bothers me is the fact that we have become such an accepting society
Mhm.
on certain things.
Mhm.
That's the thing. It's certain things. It's not everything. But the things that we've become accepted on, it has seemed to started to erode um, the true morality of us as a country. And I think
Well,
that's the thing that really bothers me.
think about it too, though, Tim. I mean, when you're talking like subliminal messaging in advertisement or in the television platform, it's more geared towards what? Children.
Yeah.
Frontal cortex is not developed until about the age of 25. So it's still a very young, impressionable, very suggestible mind frame in that age bracket. So if they can catch them then, they've got
Like
them for
Pokemon.
life.
Like Pokemon.
On that
Mhm.
note, why do you think so many children's things have dinosaurs, have planets and space? Because the narrative of those things need to be put in when they're young so that when they get older, when they listen to people like me, they think I'm fucking crazy. But I digress.
I mean, two things can be true at the same time. Um, 'Cause I know I'm crazy. I'll tell them quick. I'll tell you I'm quick. I'm crazy. Not subliminally, not suggestively. Not
Voluntarily.
yeah, I'm voluntarily crazy. What does that say? It's
Came out the
backwards.
oven
I
like
can see
that.
that.
Oh,
Cute,
says
cute.
with psycho.
Oh yeah, see. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. What it is. I accept it 100%. Full blown. Definitely got to say real quick. TikTok, we're up to 4.5K. You guys, I appreciate you
Yep.
guys. Love you guys. Keep it going. Keep it going. Um, but yeah, it's just the fact that it's so easily done. And the thing is that in most cases, and especially most of them are good at it. They're so good. They've gotten especially so good at it. Even now, if you know what to look for, it still could hit you. And that's just what's crazy to me. Okay, so what is one of your okay? So you brought up the eat popcorn, drink Coke. That was a theater experiment that was going on. I think it was what 1957. I think it was around the time.
1957. Yep.
Okay. So what can you tell us about that?
I just had it pulled up. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So James Vickery claimed that he can increase snack sales. I
What
can
did I say?
I'm sorry. No, my family heard me. I got to tone it down. They're laughing
Oh,
at me. Not the
no.
dinosaurs.
That's why I love my office where it's at. It's completely separate from the rest of the house, so I can get as loud as I want to. I got at least a bedroom and a living room that kind of separates me. So I'm pretty good for right now, unless I get a little too loud. Anyways,
Yeah,
you
I'm
say,
sitting in the kitchen right now. The dog is asking from my plate.
oh, okay.
All right. So in the 1950s, in 1957, James Vickery claimed that he can increase snack sales via subliminal movie flashes. Although he later admitted that the study was a hoax, it led to congressional hearings on subliminal communication. So they didn't have enough evidence to say yes, it works, or they did have enough evidence to say it works, but told him that they didn't. And there we go with the government conspiracies.
Yeah, 100%. Mind, you have anything you want to add on that one?
we see some variation of subliminal advertising every waking moment of the modern era that we interact with the world in general. Advertising. Why do you
Yeah.
think so many people are sick of it? Because it's gotten to the point where we've seen through the BS, and because of our economic slump, and there's been a lot of corporate rent-seeking behavior that has caused our economy to go even lower because of government overreach, backhand deals, and just crazy bureaucracy. It's gotten to the point where we've become not necessarily desensitized to it because that's what it was like before. We've become disillusioned with it. We notice that most advertising just doesn't work anymore, and that's why in the modern era they're doing this crazy push for influencers, people like you and me that are real and authentic and genuine. Hey, buy this cheap plastic bullshit on TikTok, and I get a commission on it because it's so awesome. And it's like they're now using us against one another. It's like they're running out of ideas.
That being said, if there's any companies out there that want to sponsor the Birdman Show, please reach out to us at the Birdman Show. I'm playing. No, I'm not playing. Definitely reach out. Go to DM me. We want sponsors.
Render unto Caesar. We live in Rome. We got to play within the system, and that's just how it is. So
no facts though, man. But I'll tell you, even some advertising companies or businesses are they're leaning full throttle into the subliminal messages, and they're just being openly blatant about it. The best one I could think of is, and I've actually started loving the commercials. I think they're awesome commercials because of that fact. But Uber Eats, if you've seen the commercials where they're talking about football, like you see Bradley Cooper that's on there, and he's a huge Eagle fan, he's from Philly, and he's talking about football does not sell food, and saying he's talking about all this stuff, and then all of a sudden he says no. Football does not sell, and then he's about to say food, and also it cuts to Uber Eats, and Uber Eats like the logo, and he says, go check out Uber Eats or whatever. Like they're leaning full throttle into it, to me, I actually think those commercials are much more enjoyable than the other ones where they kind of try to do a little subtle, little hey, just a tip, what I'm saying, but don't laugh at that, Miss D.
I'll laugh at what I want to laugh at. Damn it.
But anyways, those kind of commercials I think are more enjoyable to me. When it comes to yes, I see the cat in the back. Yeah, he's like, hey,
little messaging right there, sound effect.
Yeah. But I think those commercials are enjoyable when it comes to that. But the fact that when you start thinking about it, and then you start thinking about a lot of stuff with advertising, some of these companies that lobby with Congress and everything like that, it's like what else have they been really trying to put in there? And like I said, when it comes to like the second, like the one that I started learning about, or first started hearing about subliminal messages, were in with the backmasking in rock and metal records. Now that claim came, it was the claim was if you reverse classic vinyl, which I have several, I don't want to do it because I don't know what's going to come on there, and it's going to be like a freaking Ash going to jump out from Evil Dead, and then we're gonna have something going on. Anyways, but if you reverse classic vinyl, you'll hear satanic or drug inviting lyrics. Zeppelin's "Stairway to Heaven," Queen's "Another One Bites the Dust," are some of the ones they claim to have those type of things on. Conspiracy Twists, labels, and the Illuminati use these backward commands to recruit teenagers into occultism or self-harm. I'll read this one last part. They did do a reality check. Controlled studies show listeners hear whatever they're primed to expect. Reversal Plus, Paranormal, or whatever, does the rest. So it's basically like you hear what you want to hear. And I think one of you guys kind of said that in one of our opening statements. Okay, so when we start talking about the music industry and a lot of this stuff, I'm starting to, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this now so I can get it out of my system. I was very, very disturbed yesterday. Okay, I was preparing some steaks. I had got a tomahawk steak, some other steaks we were doing. I was going to grill up. I grilled up yesterday, and I'm in the kitchen, I got my phone, listening to my Spotify play, one of my Spotify playlists. I got the speaker in there and I'm jamming. You know what I'm saying? I'm jamming, sipping a little whiz-iron. You know what I'm saying? I'm in there having a good old time, seasoning up the steak and everything. And one of my favorite songs came on. I don't know if you guys know the artist Black Rob, but he did a song called Whoa. And it's one of my favorite songs. I love the song. It was just really good. And I started to remember Black Rob was an artist that was signed by P. Diddy. And there was a lyric that popped up in the song in the first verse that I had, I'd sung the song, rapped the song millions of times, and I always just thought that part was funny until I listened to it again, and then I realized he was a Bad Boy Records artist. And when he said it, I stopped immediately in my tracks. And I looked at my phone, and then I paused the song and pulled up the lyrics. So, Spotify does this thing where you can actually look at the lyrics on most of the songs. And I looked at it again, and I was like, what? And I immediately went into the living room. I said, babe, you ain't gonna believe it. I said, I've listened to this song thousands and thousands of times. I've listened to the song. It's on like a lot. It's got it on like a couple different playlists, and I'm like, I've never paid attention to the fact that this is what this says in that. And I played it, and she was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, oh, nasty." Basically, it was without saying it. Say it without saying it. There's a part that says, "Finger near a black man's." He didn't say black man's, but back door, like whoa. That was the lyric. Well, the clean version of the lyric. And when I realized that, I'm like, yo, he was telling us back then Diddy was on some freak stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, like all the different songs I've listened to, now I'm really going, R. Kelly's another big one. Do you know how many different songs R. Kelly had coming out back in the day that he's talking about peeing on females and all kind of stuff? His real special lemonade, real good special lemonade. Like, come on, bro. Really? That's pee. You peeing on people. You talking about peeing on people, bro. We know now. You ain't put no ice in it. Real good warm lemonade. That's pee, bro. You peeing on people. Nasty. I'm sorry. I had to go off on that. Jesus, baby Jesus. Okay. I need to gather myself. Let's take a quick commercial break. Because I got a little upset there. I'm so sorry. I do apologize. Let's take a real quick commercial break, and we're back. We're gonna go back to the subliminal messages because the subliminal messages gonna trigger something off in me. I think they try to do that. They're trying to make the Birdman look crazy. Bastards. Anyways, we'll be right back.
Yeah. Drop. Gotcha. How we doing, everybody? This commercial is brought to you by Dubby Energy Drinks. Dubby is an energy drink that you mix at home. Dubby is formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or no crash. So, their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, and neurotropics, including the patented Neurofactor. There are no calories, no sugars, no fillers, and no artificial colors. So if you need something to give you the energy to take on the world, Dubby is what you need. Go to dubby.gg, that's DUBBY.GG to get yours today. Hey, as a special bonus to our followers, if you enter the promo code just Birdman Show, you will get 10% off of your first order. Hey, tell them the Birdman sent you. Stop.
What is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. I got Miss D with me. I got Mace Valor with, I got a share with me. He had to go get something to drink. I wasn't looking, so I thought he was already back. My bad. Anyways, we're back. Oh God, it's too late to take another commercial. Anyways, we're back. So, this is a Birdman Show. You already know what to do. So why don't you go ahead and do it with us? That is right. Wow, that's wow. You gotta love it. I mean, that's just I've given up on actually trying to run a professional podcast. But we're here. We're back. We're talking about subliminal messaging. Title of this episode is they're whispering at you subliminal messaging or message conspiracies. See, there you go. I'm having another stroke because of this. But we're back. Miss D, how are you holding up so far with us?
So far, so good. I'm here.
I feel you on that. Mace, how you holding up? Okay, he's out of the room. Anyways, anyways, so yeah, we're talking about this. Okay, so as we're waiting on Mace there, Miss D, did you have anything else you want to add with the music part of it?
So with the music part of it, the big one was Led Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
That they roped into that. I mean, there were several other artists, but Led Zeppelin was the big one. And you know, the whole playing it backwards wasn't really a big thing until the whole satanic panic thing, which I'm gonna get into in just a few minutes, because that was a rabbit hole that I
Right.
head first. Valkyrie has something she wants to say, apparently.
Oh, okay. Is it
But-
that serious, Valkyrie? Yeah, whatever you want, my love. She's talking, man. It might be serious. This might be serious. I say, Mama, hold on now, Mama, hold on. Go ahead.
Now, as far as like the music is concerned, when you're backmasking, it does play an important role as an artist sometimes to have that kind of subliminal messaging in there, because it's part of the art if that is what the artist is going for.
Right.
Now, as far as all of these metal bands, because it got focused on the heavy metal,
Right.
which I'm a huge heavy metal fan.
As am I.
But I mean, I've been to Rob Zombie shows, I've been to Marilyn Manson, shows, stuff like that. And as far as the subliminal messaging, one, it doesn't make sense that outside of album sales, because that's not something you can recreate in a live arena. I mean, well, I suppose you could with proper editing, but I mean, not all. Oh yes, thank you, Shiloh. I knew some of them, but it was all geared towards those rock bands, especially like Judas Priest, Led Zeppelin. I mean, Ozzy during the 70s and 80s had one of the worst reputations going into the whole satanic panic thing.
Yeah, I mean, biting off bad heads doesn't really help.
But he didn't even do that on purpose.
I know. That's what's funny. That's what's funny about it.
But think about it, though, with the whole subliminal messaging of it. All of those things happened, right? And like our childhood and all of that. How many of that is now a Mandela effect?
How did that just go below Cassie when I watched the trilogy?
Give me a second. There we go. Sorry.
That's okay.
No, you're right. There's a lot of that stuff that it's like, okay, wait a minute. So now you're like, wait a minute, did I not hear those lyrics? And that's the thing. Is like I'm like I seriously. There's times I'm sitting there listening to songs, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember that saying that.
Or did you hear those lyrics that way because somebody said, "Hey, did you know this is what is actually being said?"
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah,
That how many misheard lyrics or how many lyrics do we mishear because somebody else mispronounced it or thought that that's what they heard, and that's what it becomes at this point.
yeah. I mean, I listen like what was that? Informer by Snow. Oh yeah, I have no idea I have no idea what he says. I just make up my own words the whole time. I think
I used to know it. It's been
oh,
a
yeah, I
long
know.
time.
I actually know the words.
Mhm.
I just don't care to sing the words because it just sounds better the way I do it. You know, because everybody goes, it's boom down. You know what I'm saying? No, and it's just yeah. Yeah, it's cool like
Same
that.
thing
Like
as like Eddie Vedder. It's, pop a few marbles in your mouth and sing a line or two, and there you
yeah,
go.
yeah. You gotta be careful about doing the whole popping marbles in your mouth, especially if you're like in Bangkok. But anyways, what?
Mhm.
What's wrong?
Not a damn thing.
Oh god, or especially you go somewhere else and they're like, yeah, try these mountain oysters. Anyways, oh god, yeah, that one. I remember the first time I learned what that was.
Mhm.
Sorry, let's throw up my mouth again. Yeah, okay. Shallow over here says 1988 primetime television special Devil Worship, exposing Satan's underground, hosted by Geraldo Herrera. I remember that dude. 2-hour broadcast was masterclass in Satanism. Yeah, it really is. It really was. And that's what was crazy about it. When it
The
came to
good thing
that.
though with Geraldo though, even though it was like what 20 years later, he is
Yeah.
the only one out of that grouping because you're talking Geraldo, Phil Donahue, Oprah Winfrey. There was a host of them. He was the only one that came out and apologized for the propaganda that he was spewing without the proper research. He was the only
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I'll definitely give him that. I will definitely give him that on that front. But that just goes back to a lot of things when you talk about things in society. There's been a lot of propaganda that has been spewed out that no one really challenges, or when you do challenge it, they tell you, and like I said, that's what's going on in America right now. If you do challenge somebody, and they're just completely wrong, then they either tell you you don't love America, or you're whatever. And I'm like, when did it become that way to where you couldn't speak out on something that was wrong?
Mhm.
Like, they want to talk about everything that's wrong, but then when they're talking about facts that don't exist, or when they're presented with footage, actual video footage of something that it contradicts everything they say, they just want to tell you, oh, you're just trying to make it seem like or you're just not American. And it's like, yo, bro, it's not about being American. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And you're wrong. It's not that it's not my opinion. Video shows you're wrong, or the numbers. Like when they talk about, the economy's this, economy's that. No, this is what, but it's like, yo, the numbers don't even remotely back up what you're saying. Like I've come up with a better system on the Sims 4 that I play. Where hell you guys see, hey, listen, I'm a mean farmer on Farmer Simulation. Like, hey, my crops I've been making some bank on Farmer Simulation. I've been driving up and down this. I got so bad into it, I was driving up and down looking at farm equipment. Like, man, I could probably get that. And I'm like, I don't know a first thing about no damn farming. Like, what am I thinking about? I don't play this game so much, I'm thinking I'm an actual farmer. Oh my Lord Jesus. Anyways, let's talk some more about this. Actually, Monty, real quick. Do you have anything you want to add into the music part of the subliminal
Oh,
messages?
yeah, I've had discussions with this before with you. This has been
Yes.
off the thing.
Yeah.
So breaking down narratives and stuff. So a lot of times subliminal messages don't have to necessarily be so in the background. One effective way for them to be used is directly in your face. So
Hmm.
that's like, instead of looking at like the hidden stuff and playing records backwards, just look at the lyrics. Like you said, like it's right there in your face. The truth is hidden in plain sight. And so when you look at like, I guess like the spiritual way perspective of this, you could
Hmm.
argue that like because of karmic cycles and this, that, and the other, the powers that be, the ones that kind of control our reality, they understand that there's a level of disclosure that they have to give. One
Yep.
angle, it's to continue the karmic cycle so it doesn't come back on them. The other one is more so ominous, where it's like a ritualistic mocking of the victim, where like, look what we're doing, or look what we are doing. But in other ways, it could be like hidden histories and truths that are revealed, but it's presented in a way to where it's, oh, that's just poetry. So
Mhm.
a good one that I know of is "Sympathy for the Devil" by the Rolling Stones. It's a banger. It's a
Mhm.
wonderful song. But then when you actually like just look at it face value, it's like, it's all right. So let's put our head in the poetic sense. Like let's listen to the lyrics. This is us talking with Satan, and he's basically like saying, "Hey man, I've been around for a long time. I've seen all sorts of crazy stuff. No, 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 no." And it goes into that whole thing. And even more
Right.
modern, like Coldplay is a big one. A lot of Coldplay, a lot of their lyrics just seem like this wonderful love song, this poetry. But then when you put it in your mind, like, let's imagine that this is something satanic that are singing these words. Look at Viva La Vida. I used to rule the world. Kingdom would rise when I give the word. But then all of that came tumbling down, and that could be an allegory for the return of Christ back in 70 AD. So
Right.
once again, like a lot of it, we can't really know for sure. But the whole point that I'm trying to make is, it's not about what if I'm saying is right or wrong, because I don't even know. What it's about is getting in the mindset to where you can be open to notice these things. So the mind is a magical place, and we're so directed to look at things as face value, as opposed to using our own creativity and trying to look at things from a perspective that could still be poetic, but could also like lead our minds into other areas. So yeah, I do think that the music, like, man, don't even get me started. The music industry is nuts. First off, like there's contracts for a lot of artists and stuff, and they get really young
Hmm.
artists. They suckered them into these long contracts for years and
Mm.
years. And once again, this whole dualism thing, it could be for multiple different reasons. Kill multiple birds with a single stone, right? And in a lot of these contracts, especially for hip hop, R&B, rap, there's literally a list of things that they're allowed to include in their songs. They can't talk about certain political things. They can't talk about this. They can't talk about that. But they can talk about guns. They can talk about violence. They can talk about sex. They can talk about drugs. Like, that's the stuff that they're encouraged to talk about. And then what does that do? You have an entire industry where everyone is rapping and singing about the exact same thing. Then the masses who look up to and idolize these individuals, then
Hmm.
they get that fed into them. So that's another way for generationally for you to completely destroy the culture of a people. So yeah, the music industry, from the poetic sense, is
Yeah.
extremely satanic. From the more literal sense, the jury's out. I don't know, but I do know that one nation controls the entire world, and we're not allowed to say what nation that is. But do like the
Yeah.
faintest bit of research, and just, who are we not allowed to criticize of anyone in the world? We can criticize America there and back, but this other nation, we're not even allowed to say any. Can't say anything about them. We're not allowed to.
Yeah. Which that bothers me a lot, especially if I'm talking from a veteran standpoint. That bothers me a lot. It's like, who am I? Who was I actually fighting for in my country as a service member? Was I fighting for America, or was I fighting for a completely different country? Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, that's a different topic for a different day, or a different timeline, maybe a different multiple universe. Anyways, Okay, so we've hit on the music industry. We've hit on some of the stuff with the movies and stuff. But let's talk about one that's gotten hit quite a bit. One particular movie company, studio, whatever franchise is Disney. Disney's been slammed over the thing is I can't. Hmm, okay. I'm not a huge Disney fan, but when I see some of the stuff and then I've actually seen it, I'm like, what? Yeah, okay. So Disney, what are your thoughts when it comes to the Disney claim and everything that's going on with that? What are some of your thoughts? We're gonna hit you, and then we're gonna go over to Mr. Mace Valor.
So the whole thing with Disney, first and foremost, they own everything, right? They are the parent corp for just about anything and everything. And if you take a look at Disney World in Florida, okay, and I'm pretty, I've never been out to Disneyland in California, but in Florida, I'm familiar with it because I've been there. I used to live in Florida years and years ago, but I was a child when I went there. Now, you take the layout, everything though that is behind the scenes is done underground, out of sight from public eye. Okay, they've got everything that you can imagine. From their cast to even their hospitality services. You don't see any of that going on. They've got it all underground. Now, Walt Disney himself was an absolute freaking genius. He knew the business plan that he was creating. He knew the longevity of what he was creating. I mean, are there perversions to it because he's no longer here and able to kind of say, yes, this is my vision. No, that's not my vision. Of course, you're going to have that, it's just the nature of the beast when you're talking, that large corporation being run typically by one person, because the CEO that's gone down the line, I think there's been 3-4 major players.
No clue.
But you basically have at the top of the totem pole. But of course, things are going to be, like I said, perverted to the whim and to social pressures as well to change things up. That being said, some of the initial cartoons that came out, one of the big ones that really got involved with the whole subliminal messaging was the during the, what was it, World War II, or it could have even been World War I. I don't remember exactly, but the big thing was to keep our country afloat was to buy these war bonds. And there's a flash in one of the cartoons of buy bonds, and people are thinking, well, it's children's entertainment, cartoons. Well, back then, any cartoons was not just children's entertainment; it was family entertainment. So you had adults watching as well. So that was the first noticeable subliminal message with Disney. But like when you're talking like you said, the whole thing with sex in the clouds of
Lion King.
Lion King. There was also the penises all over the castle of the Little Mermaid. With some of them, they did find disgruntled workers.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get that. No matter if you work at any major corporation or even a small mom and pop, you're going to have disgruntled employees.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get away with things if they think they can. Do I think it's all that way? Of course not. Do I think somebody saw something and matrix something in their head and went, hey, this is what it is, and let me show you that this is why it is? Is it a gray dress or is it a pink dress?
Right.
You know, so I just think the whole reason why you see more of the whole thing with Disney being involved in all of these controversies is because Disney owns everything. So they've got their hands in everything. That's basically my standpoint on that one.
Okay. What about you, Mace?
Yeah, Disney's the devil, dude. Oh my god. All right, so Disney's an interesting one because you look kind of into it, and they have some interesting government ties over the years. I know that
Yeah.
they were contracted with the U.S. government for certain to film certain operations around Antarctica and certain what is it? There was one Operation Fishbowl, Operation Deep Freeze. There was also one for nuclear testing in the upper atmosphere, and they did a lot of the handling the video production, for their own internal research and stuff for the government. And a lot of those things have been disclosed because enough time has gone on. And also going back to the whole karmic cycles thing, these disclosures are kind of a requirement. That's why after so many decades, when things are far enough removed and the masses just aren't as connected, so they don't care as much, that's when these things start to come out. But yeah, for the most part, like it is interesting seeing like the evolution of Disney, because one of the things that made them the most popular was their adaptation of fairy tales in a family-friendly way, right? Because the original stories are a lot darker. Like the original Little Mermaid is a lot darker than what we actually got. But that's just like what they did, right? They took things that were in public domain, they adapted it, and they made tons of money off of it. And we've kind of seen that like double down, because Disney also would make original stuff, like the Mickey Mouse Club and all that stuff, right?
Right.
But in the modern era, Disney doesn't really make new things anymore. They just buy companies, slap their name on it. Oh, and then all the constant remakes, that too. Which,
Jesus.
It's like,
I think that's just the entertainment industry anyway. Just everything is remade because there's no more original thought.
Yeah, definitely in America, they're doing that. Because the well is run dry, and companies want something that to them is going to be reliable. And there's all this multitude of different factors and everything. But just like you had said, like losing the original vision, and then you get new CEOs that come in, and their number one thing is the bottom line and profits and seeing the little number go up really quickly. Like that's the focus. I mean, you could even extend it out to companies like Apple. With Steve Jobs is around, innovation was the name of the game. Like he really wanted to push the tech in a particular way, but he wanted every little new iteration to actually be meaningful. But then what we've seen in recent years, it's just been the same. It's like, why even bother getting a new iPhone? Why even bother getting a new MacBook? Like the only reason why people even get new stuff, because the new stuff isn't even any technologically that much superior to what they already have. It's just because the planned obsolescence of their stuff breaking down in a much shorter span of time. So losing the original vision and then being replaced with someone that's solely focused on keeping the gears of the capitalistic engine turning, that's when we see a stagnation in creativity, a loss of innovation, and ultimately the end consumer, the one that is enjoying either this entertainment or these devices, we're the ones that ultimately suffer. Not suffer, but I mean,
we're suffering because I can't stand watching this stuff half the time. I think what's crazy with me, like Disney movies that come out anymore, I don't even go to the theaters to watch them. It's just pointless. I have Disney Plus, and like you wait like a few months and it's on Disney Plus. So it's like I don't even go to the theater anymore, really, unless it's just a movie I just really want to see in the theater for that experience. I'll tell you the thing about Disney that really bothers me, and it's one of those things where I've kind of gotten away from Disney. And there's something that happened. I think it wasn't that long ago, where a husband and wife were at Disney. They're enjoying their time. They were served some food. It contained something. I can't remember. His wife had an allergic reaction to it. She ended up passing away. She ended up dying. And he went to go try to sue Disney. But they said he couldn't sue because he signed a contract saying that he couldn't sue Disney if there was any issue with, or like, loss of life or anything like that. Some clause that he signed. He's like, I never signed anything like that. I'm to find out when he said he signed up for Disney Plus. That's what one of the parts of the story they're saying. When he signed up for Disney Plus, it actually says it in there. And I've never read it. I really don't care to. I mean, it's whatever, but it says it's in Disney Plus where, that's what it was that if anything ever, Disney's not responsible or liable for any body harm that happens to you or something like that. I'm like, wait, what? So I saw Miss D shaking her head. So I'm assuming, and I saw both of you actually shaking your head about the story. But I saw Miss D really shaking her head there. So what is your knowledge on that?
Well, it's not necessarily my knowledge on that, but no, I do know that that they set up. So this is what we call supraliminal messaging. There's nothing hidden, but it's set up and masked in such a way. A lot of your terms and conditions and whatnot, when you sign up for certain things, has verbiage that protects the company. And if we're not reading through it completely and properly, obviously, which 90% of people do, they just kind of click. Okay, yep, take my money.
Yeah.
And then you're in a situation where you're bound. Now, here's the thing. I had kind of a not kind of a similar situation, but I had a contractual situation. Gosh, 21 years ago, where I had auditioned for a vocal performance show. I'm not gonna do names or anything because it's been years and I don't want to be have anybody look at me and go, yeah, okay, now we're suing you. So but I had to sign a contract. Even before I auditioned, I had to sign a contract, and the parent company of the show owned me for a year. My voice, my image, everything. I had to be careful what I put. At the time, it was really my MySpace profile.
Oh God, MySpace.
Right.
That's a subliminal messaging all in itself.
But I had to be very careful what images I put on there, because I signed this, even though I get to the executive producers, like they this particular audition, when you go in, every year they have a particular sound that they're looking for, but of course they don't tell you that, because then everybody's going to show up with that kind of piece and
Right.
whatnot. So, and as they were cutting my bracelet off, I was down at Gillette Stadium 2 days in a row. First day to get my bib number, second day for my actual audition. They were cutting off my bracelet as I'm walking out, and they said, if you chose a bluesier song, you would have absolutely made it through to the next level. That's neither here nor there. A few months later, I was just doing karaoke with my friends, because that's what I did. Bit of a karaoke diva. Every Thursday, Friday, we were at the bar. That's what we were doing.
There you go.
And I got approached and said, hey, we're starting this, recording company. We'd really like to, have you sign on. And I'm thinking, that's great. Can you buy out this company's contract? Because they owned me for that year. And of course they're like, this is a huge company. We can't buy out their contract. So unfortunately, I lost both contracts due to that.
Wow.
But again, in that wording, you have to really kind of sometimes go line by line and say, okay, yes, I actually agree to all of this.
And yeah, that's why I tell people, and this part is definitely not so much on to what we're talking about, but that's why I tell people you be very careful, especially when it comes to your children, about doing certain things, whether even when it comes to pageants or other different things like that. Be very careful, and if they have you say sign something or say you got to sign this paperwork, don't sign anything until you have a lawyer look over it, because the simple fact is they know what to kind of look for in a lot of these contracts. And sometimes, Ms. D, just perfect example. Um, with the verbiage that was put in there, people don't know that half the time you sign stuff like that, you're locked into something for an X amount of time. But my perfect example is like birth certificates. Play. my bad. Anyways, that was my jab at the family court system. Anyways, but no, seriously though, that is a big one though, because most people don't realize a birth certificate is a contract. And the thing is, once that's signed, you're legally obligated to take care of that child for 18 years. So yeah, but it's part of those things that you're not really taught, and you don't really know. And if you're not careful, you put yourself in a very, very bad situation. You can put yourself in a very, very bad situation, but just not paying attention to the verbiage of something. That's crazy though to hear that about you, Ms. D. That's just crazy. For that simple fact. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's wow. Okay. What was in your research? What was something else that you came up with when it came to subliminal messaging? Monty, we'll start with you on this one.
Oh, I want to piggyback on what you
Oh,
guys were
go
just
for it.
talking about, the contract thing.
Do it.
So first thing, there's layers to all of this, so just follow me. So
follow along.
Yeah, it's a side note. It's interesting how the government has life insurance policies on every single citizen. So even when we die, they're still benefiting. There's that. Speaking of contracts, when we sign and join up in the military, we're not even considered human beings anymore. We're considered government equipment. When someone dies, it's an equipment loss form that needs to be filled out. Because of that, we're not subject. We don't have the same rights. When you're active duty, you don't have the Bill of Rights. They don't really apply to you. So double jeopardy happens all the time. Tim can attest to this. Because you're not seen as an individual. You can be punished as an individual by the state, the government, whatever, but then the military itself can do its own separate punishments because you're a piece of equipment. So contracts, like, you're essentially selling your soul, you're selling your physical being in a lot of these things. Look at Famous Amos, for example. He got really screwed when he was no longer a part of his company, and it got all bought out and everything, because not only was his name the name of the company, but also his face was the logo. So he could no longer use his name, and he could no longer use his face in association with anything that he did. So,
like, I can't use my face. What am I supposed to do?
Yes. Yeah. So there was a famous South Park episode where basically Kyle was just clicking through the terms of agreements for like some iTunes download update or whatever. And it resulted in him being a part of a human centipede, because it's like, dude, you agreed in the thing. You didn't even bother to read it. And obviously it's like way out there, like something that would never reasonably happen. But like that's the vibe. We don't really know what we're getting into. And as for that event that had happened with that Disneyland restaurant, that what this is, that one company owns another, and it's this giant web where everything's connected back up to BlackRock and Vanguard, right? So let's take a look at this, right? If I'm with one company using a service and I sign on whatever and I use the service, because there's other parent companies up above it that may be completely entirely unrelated to that product and or service, because I signed this, there's wordage and verbiage in there that protects all the layers above it. So, and that's exactly like with this Disney thing. We live in reality. It's like, we can understand there's a difference between Disneyland, a restaurant at Disneyland, and me sitting at my home watching Disney Plus. But as far as the letter of the law, that it's all considered all part of the same umbrella, which allows them to weasel their way in so that they can, obfuscate responsibility and protect themselves. And this all boils back down to my whole stance that money is nothing more than a representation of a percentage of power and influence in the world. And when we spend money, what we are doing is we are exchanging our consent for whatever good and or service. So money is just an exchange of consent. And in order to safeguard holding on to that consent and being able to not face any type of legal responsibilities, all these things are put up in the contracts so that the end user gets screwed, but the government and the corporations, they can be protected. So that's it's a lot, man, because like think of it like this. It's like we are lied to about so much, but at the same time, a lot of it's right in our face, right? So when you look at look at auto manufacturers, for example. There's way more tech that's in cars now. And because of all this tech, there's this justification that, oh, well, you need to get this done at the dealership. You can't go to a third party repairman for it because we have to hook up all this stuff and we have to do all these codes and this, that, and the other for an otherwise very simple and easy fix. And things are now being engineered to where it's intentionally more expensive to get something very simple fixed. And so what we don't realize is when look at the big picture, right? So I know that like in certain states, there's certain like data privacy laws or this, that, and the other, or one of the big ones is the whole right to repair movement. So the right to repair movement is that, hey, if I buy a phone, I own this phone. I should be legally allowed to tear this phone apart, replace the screen, replace the battery, and put it back together. I own this, right? But what companies want to do is that they want us to own nothing, right? They want it to be where, oh yeah, you bought the phone, but you're not allowed to take it apart. You're not allowed to fix something that you paid for. It's just bizarre. So the way that the right to repair industry works, the right to repair works with the auto industry is that they want third-party repair centers and even the end user to be able to work on their own stuff, to be able to get replacement parts at an affordable cost. You know, like you're telling me that if my computer breaks, I have to get an entire new assembly for this one piece when all it is can I just buy just like this replacement keyboard? But why do I have to buy the whole assembly that goes with it? It's unnecessary. And once again, it just promotes waste. And that's the thing. They want to preach like, oh, we love the environment. It's like, well, then how about you have systems in place that actually benefit the environment where the systems you have in place now don't? That's more of the whole greenwashing thing. So back to the whole right to repair thing. We had, because lobbyists lobby the government and then they spend tons of money on legislation. And at the end of the day, we vote. We vote on a lot of proposals and legislation and amendments and stuff for different states and districts. And so I can't remember the state it was in. It was somewhere out east. And they had these ads saying, oh, vote no on this proposition. And it was a right to repair proposition. And the way that they framed it, because remember, it's all narrative based. You got to get in their heads. So they framed it as this woman is walking in a parking garage and then some stranger comes up to her car to assault her. And the idea is if you vote yes to this proposition, that's going to allow random people to be able to collect your data, find you, and then assault you. And it's a fear. It's all those political ads. And you know, if you see the ones that they're really trying to push fear on you, maybe that's the one you actually should, you know, like, maybe I should vote for this as opposed, because they're telling me not to. They're trying to make me think that it's such a bad thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually worth looking into. But most people, when they see that, they don't want to have to waste the time, the effort, the energy to actually look into it. For them, it's just comfortable just to listen to what's broadcast in front of them. But in truth, what's the truth? When you buy a car and you think it's yours, but it's not, and all of these cars, because all the computers in it, they're harvesting your data anyway. And guess what they do? The car manufacturer then sells your data to the insurance companies, who then see all of this other crap, and they use that as a justification to then increase your rates. And the reason why all of this is allowed is because, you know, we have a Fourth Amendment right, which somewhat, you know, gives us privacy from the government, but not from corporations. In America, we don't really have any privacy or data protection laws outside of anything like state or federal. It's so for corporations, they could spy on you legally all you want. Thank you, Edward Snowden. You're the one that kind of brought that to the light for a lot of us.
Yeah.
So what the government does is the government works with private companies, and they're able to extract data from them for a cost that we pay for. And that's how the government can legally spy on us, because, the government, I don't need a warrant. I could just buy your data from a corporation, and then there's all your information right there. So, and if you look at like the track record that we're going down with this all as the reality of the framework of the world and the great nation of America and the land in which we live, where is this all going? Well, there's a lot of government contracts with Palantir, Oracle, like all of these big data centers, right? What do you think all this data is going to be used for? Well, all of these companies are in really tight with right and with left. The two-party system's an illusion. I have to say that again and again and again. They're super in tight with the government. It's a bipartisan thing where they're totally for it, because they're going to use all the data that they collect, and it's going to be streamlined straight to the government. Because now they have actual contracts and such close ties. It's not like they have to pay brokers to get and exchange this information. They're all lumped together with DOD or DOW now, whatever, with DOD contracts to be able to just exchange this information freely. So for lack of a better term, we're fucking screwed, dude. But it'll be fine eventually. It'll be better, but it's going to get worse first. Anyway, there's where I'm at.
I'm hoping it gets better, for a lot of people's sake, because for those,
more people need to wake up.
Well, for those who don't wake up until it's too late, I mean, I'm just gonna say like this: don't come running to somebody like me, who could survive in something like this, and not worry about too much. Don't come looking for us. You better wake up and learn how to defend yourself. Yeah. So. All this is a lot of this is crazy when it comes to talking about stuff like this. What are some other subliminal messaging types are there out there as far as that? I'm sorry, Miss D, your cat is freaking killing me.
That's Callie.
Yeah, Callie's just killing me because like maybe while Mace was talking, turned around and looked up and like. The head was looking right at the camera, like, "What you doing?" I was like, "What the?" I didn't see the cat. I didn't see it at first.
Yeah, it's funny because she's probably a better guard dog than the dog is.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, she's. We found her when she was only a couple weeks old under our house.
Oh wow!
So she's feral.
Yeah, that's like Dez's cat. She found him. He was actually on the axle of the car. And so she ended up taking him in because he was burned pretty bad. She took him in, found out I can't remember what kind of breed he is, but he's like worth $2,500. So she's like, yeah, I think I'll just keep him. But that's what she ended up naming him was Axel because she found him on Axel. But yeah. Hold on a second because I just had a visitor pop in. What are you doing? Why are you in here? You don't know?
It's little orphan Annie, the curly hair.
Where's your mom? And how is it you snuck in here without anybody seeing that you came in here?
Because Mom was too busy watching the podcast to pay attention.
Oh, okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
No,
you're not fine. You need to get out of here.
All right.
Ray, come on. Just out. Daddy'll be out in a little bit, okay? I'll be out in a little bit, okay? It's okay. Goofball. She's been a little bit more than usual, overly clingy when it comes to me. So it's just one of those times she goes through spurts where she's clingy, but then she's really clingy. But it is what it is. I don't even know what the heck I was saying now. Freaking cat between the cat and the freaking kid. I completely lost my train of thought. Jesus. Oh God. Okay. I don't know. Jesus. I am completely. My brain is completely reset.
The kids will do that to you.
Yeah, I know I was about to ask a question, I have no idea what that question was.
Something about all of our minds are controlled.
Yeah, mind's control. That's why they reset it because they didn't want me to ask the question I was going to ask.
So, I know the different types of subliminal messaging.
Okay, there you go. We'll go with that. I think that's something I said, but I don't know. Anyways, okay. So when we talk about subliminal messaging, I know we've kind of touched on this. We've danced around this a little bit. This whole episode. What other types of subliminal messaging, other than just the like we say the in your face, the real subtle types of subliminal messaging? What are some of the other types that you guys have kind of run into? We'll start with you, Miss D.
So I mean, per definition, there's 3 types. I know I mentioned that at the beginning. There's your subliminally presented stimuli, which is your sensory inputs, your brief images, low volume sounds, things that fall below the threshold of the subconscious. So your brain definitely takes it in, but doesn't show on the surface. So
Right.
you almost have to look at it. I know I taught about this a while ago on a whole different episode about the dementia brain and how the amygdala works. So when you're talking, below the threshold, it's more working in the amygdala instead of the hippocampus. So that's why, typically you'll say, like, I may not remember this person's name, but I remember how they made me feel.
Right.
That's the level of subconscious that we're talking about. Okay. We talked about masking.
Yeah.
And then so that goes in with your subliminal processing. When we're doing so subliminal perception and subliminal processing they kind of play hand in hand. So when you have the perception, like I said, certain song lyrics, how somebody's agenda could be like, well, this is what the person was thinking and blah 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 blah. Next thing you know, it's a fact. But again, it's working on those on the cortex of the brain that because it's logical. For us, that it works below the threshold of the conscience. So versus subliminal processing, where it may be something that that we could have been primed for. So you're making related thoughts or actions more likely, like hiding a word in something, or to make you prefer a certain brand. The whole, well, brand name cereal tastes better than the generics. That's a subliminal.
Even though they're made in the same factory.
Exactly. They're made in the same factory, same ingredients. The only thing difference is the packaging. But that's the subliminal priming, which goes into our perception and the way we process. So does that make sense?
It makes sense. Definitely makes sense. You want to add anything with that there, Mace?
It's definitely like a play on our emotions. Like we've been so like conditioned to just, this is our new world. Our phones are an extension of ourselves. It's the mental mind connecting with the digital world that connects to the physical world. Therefore, we are so much more spread out, right? Great, wonderful.
Yeah.
But these things are a trap, man. It's like I go out of my way to make sure I just do not turn on notifications. Pretty much the only notifications I get are for text messages, and that's pretty much it. Well, then email, because, in the world we live in and the things we're connected to. But for the most part, no notifications anywhere else. And it's because it's that emotional conditioning, that sense of urgency to where, I got this bubble pop up. And if you ignore it for long enough, it just keeps going up. And you're like, oh, wow. I mean, hell, like, where am I? My email, it says I got like over 10,000 like updates, and it's like, I'm not checking every single one of this spam nonsense. But that's what it wants. Is it gives you that little red bubble. It's the idea of color and sensory and what these things mean to us. Fast food does it. Like all advertising, they use some spectrum of how we perceive and sense the world and what these things mean to us subconsciously. So it's one of those things where it marries the in your face, but it's something that most people just don't know. And it's very interesting that the government doesn't want to acknowledge this, but we teach about it in all of our schools. You try to get a job in marketing, you go to school for it. These are the stuff they teach you. So it's like, wait a minute, the government is approving the education that we're getting. They're giving endorsements, they're giving tax breaks and whatever to these universities that teach this stuff. But when we actually start to question it, they're like, oh yeah, that's not real. It's like, then why are we learning it? You know, it's like, oh yeah.
Nah, I agree. I agree. And then this is funny because you bring about the phones and everything. And I'm sitting here as you're bringing that up. I'm looking down and I've got 3 phones and an iPad staring back at me. But I'm the exact same way because of my notifications. Like I don't, unless it's it, and even with my notifications that do pop up, unless it's a text message, that has a certain ringtone. So, like the ones I feel like I have to answer, like the contacts I have, everybody has their own type of ringtone. Like for basketball, I have basketball themed ringtones and text message alerts that are just for that. So I know that if that tone goes off, it either has to do with my players or it has to do with something with the league that I coach in, or maybe it has to do with somebody who's reaching out about something. They have their own particular ringtone, and I did that because of that simple fact. By hearing that, it triggers a response from me. If I have my regular ringtone, whether it's a phone or it's a text alert, if that goes off, I don't even bother with it. I'll look at my watch because my Apple Watch. I'll see if it's a phone call. I'll see okay, who's this? I recognize the number. I'm not answering it. That's why I have voicemail. But yeah, I'll do that. Same thing with text messages. If it's a regular text message, usually what happens is it's either some type of spam text, some type of maybe one of the places I shop at that I signed up for the text alerts and stuff like that. It's one of those. I'll check it when I check it. But like I said, like my parents, Des, of course, family members, hell, Monty, even I mean, both of you guys are on. Like I got a group like you, me, JB, and Jimmy. We got our group, and then we have our own. It's our own separate text alert. So I know that if one of you texts me, that's something I need to look at. And so I do that because that's what you just said, Monty. Is the simple fact is that response, that chemical response that when you're looking at something where it's a text message or something, we're conditioned for that. And I started getting to the point where I got tired of being, looking at, seeing my phone. I can leave my office right here, office/studio right here, and my phone could be sitting right here on my desk. I have a mouse pad mat. That goes almost, the full length of what I have right now, but it also has a charger on it. I can set my phone on there and I can walk out here and I go in there in the living room and we can watch a movie. I can be out there pretty much the majority of the day and my phone's in here. Why? Number one, I've got an Apple Watch. So any alert that I get is going to go to my watch. I don't have to have my phone on me 24/7. I think there's a lot of issues with that, being tied to these things so much. You tend to miss out on a lot of things. You miss out on life. I mean, you tend to miss out on all kind of stuff because you're so freaking focused on your phone that you don't know what's going on around you. And I think that's what we've been conditioned to do because we've been conditioned to try. Think about kids now, earlier and earlier in their years. What do they want? What's one thing they keep asking for? Keep asking for phones. Because you got your apps on there, the kids that are watching, different programs or stuff or anything else, they got those on there. A lot of it sometimes is us as parents, we put them in front of a device, and then next thing you know, that's what they're wanting because we don't. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. There's a lot of educational stuff on there, but you have to start asking yourself, am I putting educational stuff in front of them or am I just putting stuff in front of them to occupy their time so I can have some time to myself? You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. Like we do that with Rain, but the stuff that we put in front of her is 100% educational stuff. We don't put any type of mess on there in front of her. I don't really have her watch a lot of Disney. stuff. I mean, she'll watch like the Mickey Mouse Club, like the newer ones, which are okay. I don't, I'm not too upset about that. But majority of the stuff we watch, we have her watching or like educational as far as she likes to watch the little angels or whatever that crap is. It's annoying. But she watches that. It keeps her occupied, but it's also teaching stuff. Teaches about manners. Teaches about counting, going to the potty. Sharing. It teaches her a bunch of stuff. Gracie's Corner. This is another one. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. That one's a good one. Akili, Adventures of Akili. Good stuff because it's all educational. I get tired of Miss Rachel. I like Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel, if you ever watch this, I love you to death. But Jesus, can we tone down the chipperness?
I'll say that Miss Rachel is a lot better than what Bluey was, because at least Miss Rachel is offering some level of educational to the entertainment, where Bluey is just oversensory and noise. Or not Bluey, Blippi.
Oh, Blippi. I was about to say Bluey. I love Bluey. I love Bluey.
The only thing that Blippi teaches people is how to say his name. That's it. Oh man,
dumb.
There's a rabbit hole with that. That's more of the indoctrination. I'm telling you, Bluey's an op. Bluey's an op for sure. Not Bluey, Blippi.
I'm about to say, stop talking about Bluey.
Bluey is wonderful. Thank you, Australia, so much. Blippy's dog shit.
Yeah,
I never let my kids watch Teletubbies growing up.
God, no.
Everybody was so, enamored by the Teletubbies, but
it was so creepy.
I had already given birth to a child who had speech issues to begin with, and the last thing I wanted was for any subsequent children, Bambi included, that I didn't want her growing up with anything that would potentially take that ability from her. I mean, both of my children, Jameson was signing, it was typical baby sign, but he was still signing and able to communicate. Bambi was signing, and then she was also talking at 8 months old. She was 8-9 months old, talking and walking. But I didn't rely on, we didn't have a whole lot back then. I think it was Teletubbies and the Wiggles and Bear in the Big Blue House. Now I loved Bear in the Big Blue House, and I loved Out of the Box.
Yeah, I like Bear Blue House. Yeah, that's my dude. That's my dog.
But yeah, the Teletubbies were a no-go in my house. Absolutely no-go.
Yeah, I couldn't rock with that. No, I love Bluey, especially Unicorse. Unicorse is my favorite. I love that episode. Ray and I can watch that episode for hours. But
real quick, if you're looking at the TikTok, Raven Plays, that is my youngest. So not only do you have Bambi, who is my oldest daughter, Raven Plays is my youngest daughter, and she's popped in. She starts her first set of midterms tomorrow, so she should be finishing up homework.
Well, good luck to you on that. I was not on TikTok at that point in time. I was looking at something else. I don't even know which profile I'm on TikTok right now. Okay, so I'll actually pop in, but it's going to be under the t-shirt business logo. Which is
knock on wood. It feels like this is the longest we've gone on TikTok in a while without an interruption.
Yes, it is. It is. So I'm
hoping they like, oh shit, they're on to us. We got to let them slide a little bit.
Yeah, we'll let them go for at least a week or two. But yeah, that's about what it is. So yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, so what was the one you wanted to talk about? Because I figured we can hit that, then do a commercial break, and then we can kind of wrap things up.
Satanic Panic. Oh,
where it says I'm getting ready for bed because it's almost bedtime. Hey, I feel you. Right. I feel you, kiddo. Go ahead.
Satanic Panic. If that doesn't tell you how the mind on the subconscious works and how things get so out of control so quickly, I don't know what does. Um, it was in the 80s and 90s. So the subliminal messaging, particularly backmasking in music, became a key component of the 80s and 90s satanic panic, a moral panic over unfounded claims of widespread satanic ritual abuse, with accusations that hidden backward messages in rock music secretly promoted Satanism, influencing children and leading to hysteria, court cases, and widespread panic about hidden evil in popular culture. For me, this is a resurrection of another very significant time for our country. Any thoughts of what that could be? I mean, it was a worldwide issue, but our country definitely was scarred by it.
Well, I'm thinking of satanic stuff. I'm thinking about like the Salem witch trials, but probably
Bingo, right there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
then cool. All right, good. I followed along pretty good then.
Yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
it was a hysteria. I mean, there were actually no witches, burned at the stake during the Salem witch trials.
I don't know. I think we had a few burned at the stake in my town. No.
Different kind of witch hunt.
But this whole thing started in Victoria, British Columbia, in Canada.
Dang
It
Canadians.
started with a woman by the name of I want to say, is it Michelle?
Michelle Pfeiffer? Yep. That sounds about right. Oh no. My bad. Wrong Michelle.
Definitely wrong, Michelle. Michelle Remembers was a book that was written that it was written with Michelle, who's a real person from Victoria, and her therapist. I'll get back to that in a little bit.
That tells me all I need to know.
Right. But she was older at the time when she started seeing her therapist, who did regression therapy with her to unmask some of these memories that supposedly she had. And oftentimes so it was thought to believe that, when she was about 5 years old, she was basically kind of taken in by this satanic cult, and she witnessed and endured ritualistic abuse, that she witnessed sacrificial rites and whatnot. But this is where the whole Geraldo thing came, because this became sensationalized. This was, all over the world. And at that time in Victoria, you had the Church of Satan, and it was a wide community at the time, but because of the occult fashion of the way things are, of course, they became the target. Now, if you know anything about Satanists, one, they are pretty cool people. Their whole point, their spiritual thing is, they accept diversity and differences, what makes you unique, and that's what empowers you as a person. Not, not much more of anything else. It's not, about the good and evil and this, that, and the next. Satanists don't have it's not what society has brought them out to be. They don't do, human sacrifices, and Baphomet, is their higher divinity and all of that. But they still focus more on the good works of themselves and what they can offer and for I mean, even in our one of the last social experiments that made headlines with the woman who called all of these churches looking for somebody to help her with formula for her starving baby. Out of the 3, now mind you, there was hundreds of places that she called. Out of the 3 that returned her call, 2 of them were mosques, and the other was the Church of Satan that were willing to help this woman out. So all right, little history lesson there, gone, whatever. But it got out there, like, and it was being sensationalized through, like I said, Geraldo and Oprah and like all of these major talk show hosts, and it was by metal music, and then that thought of the subliminal messages in the albums, and if you played it backwards, that the core belief is that they were taking over daycares. People legit got sent to prison for years on the hysteria of satanic panic. Parents were going absolutely crazy. They were trying to, pull their kids out of school. They were, everything. You never knew who you were looking at to being, if they were this satanic person trying to harm their children. And it stemmed from backmasking of music, of heavy metal music, which most children don't listen to, unless you happen to be my kids. They grew up on that. But it's like I said, it comes from like this book written by I can't remember Michelle's last name now, but her and her therapist. Now, mind you, after the whole thing with the therapist, it first started, a couple times a month. Then her therapy sessions went to a couple times a week until she was in therapy almost every day of the week for 8-hour sessions trying to do these regressions in a country that pays for healthcare, but they still pay to these insurance companies. So now you can see how these subliminal messages getting out there and people wanting now, we got to send everybody to therapy, make sure that they weren't a victim of all this, now plays into your big pharma.
Yeah, if you didn't get a chance to check that episode out, you can go check out any past episodes of the Birdman Show by simply going to our YouTube channel at TBS 216 or over on Rumble at Birdman Show. Shameless plug. Continue.
I got something to piggyback on this real quick. So
Go for it.
Once again, everything is a controlled narrative, right? So one way of looking at the bigger picture, this could all have been very easily orchestrated to obfuscate the perception and direction of the masses from the true, whatever the actual satanic thing would be, to throw it on to the satanic stuff. Because if you pay attention to history, if you are knowledgeable about world religions, the Church of Satan has a much closer leaning towards the early Gnostic Christians than modern Christianity, which is a very different religion entirely than what it originally was. Yeah. And it's like, okay, all right. So from that understanding, it's like, oh, well, if you know about their actual faith, it's just kind of like when 9/11 happened and people like me, I was young and didn't even know what Islam was. But then when that's in your face and then you're prepared that this is the enemy, one thing I do remember of that in the 90s was like the whole anti-Pokemon thing, like Pokemon's the devil and this, that, and the other. which is so funny because there's a game series called Shin Megami Tensei, and it's from Japan, just like Pokemon. But that is literally about the occult. That is like literally you're catching monsters similar like you do in Pokemon, but they are actual demons from different world religions that are in this game series. And it's wildly popular today, just like Pokemon. But it's like, of the examples that you could use to try to throw blame one way or another, Pokemon is like this cute, cuddly, whatever thing. Whereas Shin Megami Tensei, that's the true inspiration of all this, the supposed satanic demonic stuff. So it's just weird how, like, while they're trying to find something to fit in their narrative, of course they're going to go after something more popular. Pokemon was far more mainstream because it was very kid friendly, whereas Shin Megami Tensei was a lot more niche because it only appealed to people that are older. So once again, it's as like it could be what it is. It could be an intentional planned op to put an idea into the masses of the populace and obfuscate from who the real aggressor is, the real guy behind the curtain of Oz doing all that.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Which
like
is
during the pandemic, it was about 2019, 2020. Do you remember the whole issue with the LOL dolls?
I didn't pay any attention to those things.
I didn't either. No.
So, my youngest had some at the time. If you put them in water, I mean, they were like little, kind of like a little bit bigger than like the Polly Pockets, but not quite like, same size as like the Fisher Price people. Designed for children. But you put them in water, and they had on fishnets. Right. I didn't buy into the hype, but then I was like, well, you know what? Just out of curiosity, I grabbed a couple of my daughters, and no kidding, with the temperature of the water change, these things would show up, and I'm like, no, my 5-year-old's not gonna play with those. No way in hell. I think she was like 6 or 7 at the time, but
it kind of reminds me of the Bratz dolls. Like, you want to have something that's like popular and trendy that kids are going to like, but then they see this thing that they play with, and then there's an identity that becomes associated with it, and then that filters into the persona of how they want to operate in the world, and then we get the degradation of society, and then everyone's an OF model now. It's like, great.
Yeah, that should be a conspiracy theory all of its own. Anyways, let's take a quick commercial break.
Once again, who owns that entire industry? The same nation we're not allowed to discuss.
Doesn't surprise me. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna wrap this up because Jesus, man, this my head's hurting. But we'll be right back. We'll be back. Just stay around. Hello, I'm Tim Simpson, owner and head coach of the Tri-State 66ers based out of Pittsburgh and Parsons, Kansas. The Tri-State 66ers aim to unite our community through high-energy, family-friendly sports entertainment. But we are not just a basketball team. We're a platform developing talent, fostering civic pride, and creating lifelong memories for fans of all ages while strengthening the region's love for the game of basketball. We're looking to partner with and promote local businesses to build a strong community connection. So if you are a local business and would like to join the 66ers Nation as a sponsor, contact us by email at tristate66ers.basketball@gmail.com or call us at 620-454-6587. Join us as we look to support local businesses and community organizations through partnerships and promotion. What is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. I got Miss D with me. I got Mace Valor with me, rocking and rolling. You guys already know what to do, so why don't you go ahead and do it with us. That is right. We are going to be wrapping up this crazy episode, which we talked about subliminal messaging. They're whispering at you, subliminal message conspiracies. Yeah. So yeah, what are your closing thoughts? We'll do like this. Give me your closing thoughts and any last words you want to give to the good people before we get up out of here. We'll start with Miss D.
Make sure that you're paying attention. Again, with the whole thing is subliminal messages work on the subconscious, but you have to be accessible to the suggestion for it to work. If you are guarded and you know, or do your own research on things, that suggestion is not going to necessarily be embedded, including our tinfoil hats. So, just pay attention. Pay attention to the advertisements that you see, what you're reading, do your research. I mean, and not all of these things are bad things. I mean, some of it's marketing tools that they want you to buy their stuff. I get that. But you can't sit there and be like, well, I should have never bought that. It's a piece of crap. But, go after the bad marketing, not necessarily the subliminal message that made you want it in the first place. Because we are human. We do have, we are open to suggestion like that. That's why you get the earworms in your heads as far as, jingles of certain things. I mean, I still couldn't tell you, half the crap that I learned in high school, but I can still remember certain jingles, and certain lyrics to songs. But yeah, so research stuff and don't be so open to suggestion. That's my last thing.
I like it. Mace, what's up?
Reality is real. The material world and the physicality, this is real. We don't live in some weird matrix thing. However, the powers that be are understanding of how the layers of reality work and use our own minds and perceptions against us. So with that in mind, everything is fake and everything is an obfuscation of what the actual truth is. So the best piece of advice I could give is turn off the screen, go touch grass. It's a television. It's telling you the vision it wants you to perceive of the world. So yeah. Put down the dance videos, watch this first and then put everything down. Yeah. But like
watch us, but put everything else down.
Go experience the world for yourselves. And if you do pay attention to anything in the news, the media, whatever in the world around you, don't just blindly accept it for what it is. Pay attention. When you see some weird stuff in the media, listen to what they say and compare that with what they do. And then somewhere in there, you can understand where the truth actually lies. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with either one of those. I would just, definitely emphasize the point, especially the point Miss D made. Pay attention. There's a lot that goes on in this world that honestly we could probably avoid if we pay attention. And I've heard the saying before. My grandma said it to me quite a few times. I've heard it from my mom, even from my dad, and others who I come before me. When someone shows you who they are, take them at their word. And for those that went over your head, people will tell you who they are all the time. Now, their words might tell you one thing, but their actions 100% speak the truth. So really have to pay attention, not only to people, but also things that they're so-called putting our faith in and trusting in. Pay attention. Like seriously, stop taking everybody's word for everything. Like Miss D said, do your research. You look it up yourself. Stop trying to freaking um just go by what everybody else says as truth, as Bible, as just 100% commandment. Um, and figure the stuff out for yourself. These devices are wonderful, but at the same time, they're crippling. Um, because they're able to slip all kinds of different messaging in every single um part of your life. So just be careful about what you're doing. And if you have a sudden crave to go buy something or get food, maybe you should go back and look at what you were actually looking at before you had that craving, where you had that idea of, oh, I need to get this. This is I've been seeing, and I hear that a lot from people. I've been seeing this a lot on this platform or that platform or in commercials and stuff like that. Let me, I think I need no check it out first. But yeah, just be careful.
And they
I
do
love you.
listen. They do listen.
100%.
That's how your algorithms get formed.
Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Just once again, we will be back Wednesday for the Birdman show. I forgot his name that quick.
Frank Noonan,
Dude.
whatever.
That dude.
Mhm.
Freddie.
Yeah.
Freddie and yeah, them guys. Anyway, no, Frederick Noonan. We're gonna be talking about him. If you don't know who he is, trust me, I didn't either.
But you should.
You should.
Hmm.
Yeah, you should definitely, but they don't teach you about them. But you're gonna learn about them on Wednesday. So yeah, it should be a very fun, informative episode. You know how we do Birdman show, anything Birdman show, it's gonna be off script, so it doesn't matter. I have a script for every show that we do, and I rarely go by it. So
Merely suggestions.
yeah, that's all they are. They're just kind of like, if I do kind of get out of place, I'm like, well, okay, this sounds good. Let's talk about this one. But anyways, yeah, so we'll be back Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time, right back here for another episode of the Birdman Show podcast for that. And then, of course, Thursday we'll be back once again, same platforms, same time, 6 p.m. Central Time for the Birdman Show recap. Meow, 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 meow. Recap edition of the Birdman Show.
One of those staple buttons that you can just hit.
Yeah.
That was easy.
I need that. Yeah, I need that, man. I need that in my life. Actually, I can record it. I just got to find one I really like. I can just record it to my soundboard here, and then play it off of there. But anyways, we'll be back Thursday for the recap edition of the Birdman Show. We'll recap tonight's episode as well as Wednesday night's episode, which we've done that last couple times. It's been pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to it as well. We were able to pull Carrie into the conspiracy realm. And she was like, oh my god, yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
And there are plenty of ties on conspiracy theories and the disappearance of Amelia Earhart with her navigator.
There we go. I will say this though, TikTok, we love you guys. You're always awesome. We got to 15.2K on likes. So thank you guys very much for the support and love. Like I said, it's been real. We love you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. TikTok land, YouTube land, Rumble was one of our newer platforms. We appreciate you guys' love and support on there as well. But yeah, I have nothing else. So for Mace Valor, for Miss D, we want to thank you guys once again for joining us for this episode. We will see you guys next week on Conspiracy Files. No, we will not. I forgot. We're taking next week off. This is our third one. I will see how many people show up next week, and then I'll just go, ha, psych, conspiracy. We're not here. Anyways, I
think we're going to need the week off to do the amount of research for our next topic anyway.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll put out a video. We'll probably put out a video next week to say, hey, remind everybody we're taking this week off, but give everybody the topic we're gonna be talking about. So yeah, we'll see you guys for the next round of conspiracy theory. But yeah, so love you guys. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Be kind to everyone. Take care of yourselves because you got to take care of yourself before you can help anybody else. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you guys later. I'm the Birdman. That's Mace Valor. And there's Miss D. This is the Birdman Show. And we out. Do it with us. We get up out of here. We'll see y'all later.